New South Wales, we have been locked down and we've been in the property industry patiently waiting to see what sort of legislation incentives are going to be passed. They just got passed yesterday. Let's talk about can't pay my rent due to lockdowns.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Berger, Mark Novak, episode 501. I can't pay my rent. Can I be due to COVID lockdowns? Either my business is closed, my employer is closed, and we're not getting a wage. There is no JobKeeper at the moment. So if there's no income, then maybe no income for anybody on that. But you need to live somewhere. Job security is at risk. Is home shelter at risk? Government has brought out some new legislation last night, which will impact landlords and impact tenants. Myself, Michael Berger, Mark Novak, here to talk about it. What's happening, Mark?
So that was so professional, Michael. So professional.
It was good, eh?
So professional. Yeah, it's stunning.
Get me on Channel 9.
So it's really interesting because we were waiting for this and it's been a couple of weeks and people are stressed out. We're taking inbound calls in our agency from commercial tenants and we're taking inbound calls from residential tenants, and we are a lot more equipped than last time. So we know we've been in this storm before. And it's very interesting, but we almost were confidently waiting for direction from our friends in government as to how we should be handling this. We weren't making up our own laws with our own landlords. It has been a lot of work the last couple of weeks in the rental side of the business, commercial and residential, but we got direction yesterday.
Yeah, so I'll pop a link to an article which basically came out July 13th. So landlord relief is going to be through land tax relief equal to the rent discounted to tenants, basically $1 for $1. The relief so land tax relief equal to the value of rent reductions provided by commercial, retail and residential landlords to financially distressed tenants, up to 100% of the 2021 land tax year liability. The cap granted of up to $1,500 for residential landlords were not liable to pay land tax, who rent would be reduced. Hang on, let me read that again, because I was thinking that, what about if you don't pay land tax, what do you get? So a cap granted of $1,500 for residential landlords who are not liable to pay. So that's pretty crap, but better than nothing. So basically, if you don't pay land tax, you may be under the threshold. You've only got one property. You will be granted $1,500. Well, that's pretty crap. Like, what's the average rent? The average rent's probably $500, $600 a week. And if you've got to give everything off, because you 3 weeks.
Off, whatever you're doing,
so either they're only expecting this to be probably another lockdown for a month, sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
Or so that's that, and dollar for dollar for if you do pay land tax.
So it's a bit of and look, I think what's interesting there's two pieces to this. We'll talk about the second piece in a sec, which is the tenant piece. But I think what's interesting, this is landlords bled last time, and I think this time even more so that the government's going to bleed with the landlord. So any pain the landlord's going to go through, they're not going to take all of the hit, but they're going to take a little bit of the hit through the land tax system. Very clear. Also, what's interesting is some people do dodge land tax landlords, And I think this is actually a clever system to make sure everyone's declaring their proper land tax declaration and flagging it in order to get the rebate back. If and only if the tenant passes qualifications of
25% or more due to lockdown.
Yeah, necessity. So you can't just ask if you're a tenant just because you feel like it. There's qualifications you have to pass. Now that's the piece that we've just spoken about, which is the landlord piece. Now the tenant piece. Let's have a talk about that. What was introduced yesterday?
Introduction of legislative amendments to ensure short-term evictions moratorium for rental arrears where a residential tenant suffers a loss of income of 25% or more due to COVID-19 public health order. So one, they have to prove it's 25% or more, and two, which a lot of people may miss, it has to be due to lockdowns. So if you got fired prior to this and you're like, oh, now's my chance to claim something because I've got no job, you have to confirm both. So property managers out there, make sure you're looking into the rent reduction, their loss of income, not that just it's 25% lower. Yep. There could be a different reason for it. You have to be able to confirm it's due to the order. It says that. So bring up the order and make sure it qualifies. And the moratorium, what that means is you can't evict someone. And this doesn't tell me how long it's for, but I believe it's 60 days. Isn't it, Mark? By
60
your memory?
days, yeah. It's 60 days. So I'll tell you why this is good. The last time people were making up their own rules, some tenants and landlords overshot their expectation on rent reductions. Tenants thought they should pay zero. Landlords, some were giving away too much, particularly landlords that were self-managing their property. Something I've got to note that from our experience from the heavy New South Wales lockdown last time was it created an amazing amount of work for managing commercial and residential. The amount of work that it created out of nowhere was off the charts. And I do have to say, managing that professionally in an accounting capacity and a rapport capacity with your tenant, and being experienced property manager, we navigated through that last time, and you really saw the difference with experience and no experience. This is going to create a shitload of work again for commercial, more so than residential landlords and landlord property managers, also tenants. So it's just crossing your T's and dotting your I's again. We're just going into a shitstorm of a lot of work, but it's good that everyone can help each other through this.
You're 100% right, because there were people when we first heard like COVID back, people jumped the gun, businesses closed voluntarily. Full rents were given off. It was, I think a few people looked back. Oh, another thing to note is the rent, you got to pay it. Like we touched on it last episode about when you're asking for this rent off, put it together like a business proposal, very formal, let them know everything, and it will streamline your approval. The more information you give and supporting documents. A 2-line email saying, I qualify, I need 25 or 30% off, I don't believe will be sufficient. I think people were, like you said last time, Mark, people were just so willing to help because they basically thought we're all going to die, and they'll just like, whatever we need, whatever it is, we'll sort it out later. I think landlords are going to be a lot more methodical and really seeing if you qualify. Agents now know what to do. So I think it's going to be different. So get your I's dotted, T's crossed. And I believe I can't see the back end terms, like how long you have to pay it back. What are the structures there? Commercial, it's not you qualify that, and your percentage you've lost revenue is your discount. You have to have mediation. is required before arrear. So here it is. For retail and commercial tenancies, mediation is required before arrears are recoverable against security bonds or lockdowns or evictions are contemplated. So it's back to the rules which applied in 28th of March 2021. So look up that. I've actually got those rules here, which I believe they are. It was linked to the article I just posted for everybody. I'll bring up the rules. So this applies. So this potentially could be...
I think also make sure you're dealing with a pro, because I think last time a lot of agents didn't know what they were doing, didn't do the right thing. And I think even this time you may find the same thing may happen again. The benefit of someone using a company like ours is because we're doing so much volume, we've actually been through the shitstorm a couple of times before. A lot of agents just haven't been through it all. So just be careful that you do get a second opinion and a third opinion on what you're doing with your tenants. If you do have second thoughts on your real estate agent, because it doesn't necessarily mean if it comes out of a real estate agent's mouth that it's right. So just get some extra justification behind what you're going to do. But I don't think, Michael, this is going to be a complex situation for prospective tenants or landlords, at the moment. I think that the math is going to be very simple. I think that the method's been used and applied before. We've been in COVID before. The quality of information coming out is so much bloody better than what it was last time.
Yeah, exactly. And as we said on yesterday's show, plan for a month, plan for 2 months, and you bring it. And obviously, when things open again, you can stop it. Don't plan for, let's do this deal for 3 days. Let's do this deal for 7 days. You're just creating more work and more uncertainty. If you've got to go back to the negotiation table every 3 days, every week between tenant and landlord, it's going to be annoying for all parties. So experienced agents need to take any agent needs to take the lead here, control the negotiation, and set forward a timeline going, let's do this for a month, and then we'll reassess. And now you've got the government packages to help as well. And we'll just ride the wave and see where it goes. Anything else you want to add on to that, Mark?
Stay safe, be good, enjoy, wear your friggin' mask. We had 2 people come into the office yesterday refusing to wear masks. I have no idea why anyone would walk into a business with what we're doing at the moment, with all the clear direction that we're getting. It was interesting. I asking them to leave the office. They didn't take it too kindly, but I don't get it. Just put the mask on.
We're all equally unhappy. We're all equally unhappy. Just do it. And do I have much more energy? I am standing now, so if I feel like I'm moving, it's part of it. But my diaphragm is open, and it should be a much better listening experience. My hands are going crazy. I've got to have the mic. I've got to have the camera up. Otherwise, you're just going to see this.
Hands everywhere. So we've actually changed where Michael is today for our 500th anniversary. We went from a sitting camera to a standing camera. So it's going to be interesting. I think Luke's watching. Luke's always standing when he does his lives. But it's a bit better.
Luke says it's time to buy an apartment, mask up. Well, guys, look at what happened last lockdown. If you looked back, when was lockdown? March? 3 months ahead of that, when we were all like, what's happening? We all looked back and said, shit, that was the best buying period. Anyone who bought during the time where everyone said not to buy, they did really well. So all we've seen is when you think property will go down, it will go up. And I think it could even have another surge, because what caused the surge was lockdowns, working from home. Up until now, that sort of sentiment had worn off. City was getting back open. I know a lot of properties were being leased. So if I look at the commercial in the city, March, April, May, all that was the biggest discounted area. Properties right to 2 months ago were being leased smaller discounts were being given because people thought this was past us. Now we're being hit again. And I think that sentiment of mid last year, working from home, let's get a bigger home. Anyone who hesitated before and said, "Oh, we won't upsize our house because we won't have any further lockdowns," may just decide to this is going to keep happening for another year or 2 years. Because let's face it, a lot of people are vaccinated, and we're still going to lockdown. So we all thought back then was once we got vaccines, there'd be no lockdowns. We've got them. Now there's not enough lockdowns and there'll be something else. So I think it's not going to go away at least for another year till the end of this year. I think that will push a lot of people just to say, let's make that buy now. So we could get a 15% jump, something crazy once all this is back open, or it could just be a modest. So
living La Vida lockdown, man. Living La Vida lockdown.
Yep. The new reality.
Just enjoy it. You got to do it. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.